Carlos Rodon had as bad of a first impression as they get when he joined the Yankees. He signed a 6-year, $162 million deal ahead of the 2023 season, as he was the Yankees' big addition after a 4-game sweep in the ALCS at the hands of the Astros. The Yankees hope for Gerrit Cole and Carlos Rodon to anchor the top of a lethal rotation, but injuries delayed his debut until July. When he finally returned to the mound for New York, he was completely ineffective, sporting a 6.85 ERA and 5.79 FIP in 14 starts that season. Things didn't look much better halfway through the 2024 season, as Rodon sported a 4.63 ERA and a 4.68 FIP through 20 starts, looking like a complete bust of a contract. The once dominant left-hander looked doomed to become one of the biggest disasters in Yankees free agent history. With some key changes, however, the left-hander has completely turned around his career in New York, and Carlos Rodon is now an all-star and arguably the steadiest pitcher on the Yankees. When Carlos Rodon first signed with the Yankees, he was a 2-pitch pitcher, and he was very proud of that fact. It was a simple yet effective approach. High-velocity fastballs that can overpower hitters, and sharp sliders down in the zone to put them away. That 2-pitch mix helped him become a $162 million pitcher, but the league was quickly changing on the pitching side. Hitters started adapting to the high fastball more and more, and suddenly Carlos Rodon's unhittable 2-pitch mix became an easy-to-predict combination. This would force him to adapt. The four-seamer that dominated at the top of the zone was no longer overpowering hitters, and we'd see Carlos Rodon develop a new pitch to add to his repertoire. His changeup has arguably become the most important pitch in his mix, as it gives a completely different look from his four-seamer and slider, and it's so effective that in 2025, it is top 15 in both weighted on base average and whiff rate. Rodon increased the usage of this pitch in the second half of the 2024 season, posting a 2.91 ERA with 83 strikeouts in 68 innings, as righties could no longer just sit on 2 different pitches. He also increased his curveball usage, giving him 4 different pitches that he used at least 10% of the time. The highlight of his 2024 season was the ALCS, where Rodon allowed 3 runs in 10 2/3 innings across 2 starts, striking out 15 batters as the Yankees would win both of those games. He set the tone in Game 1 with a dominant start, and then gave New York a solid performance in the pennant clincher during Game 5. While the World Series didn't go too well, it gave confidence in the left-hander for 2025. Gerrit Cole's UCL tear would put more pressure on Rodon to deliver. He was no longer being asked to be their number 3 starter, but now asked to be the number 2 behind fellow southpaw Max Fried. The Yankees would sustain more injuries in their rotation as the season went on. Luis Seal missed most of the season with a lat strain, and Clark Schmidt would tear his UCL in July, taking someone who was very effective and knocking him out for the rest of the season. Carlos Rodon would step up though, and he'd do so by developing a new pitch to help deepen his mix even more, this being a sinker with tons of drop to throw against lefties. It generates a lot of swings and misses and has a negative launch angle against, allowing him to both miss bats and keep the ball on the ground with this pitch. Carlos Rodon now sports 5 different pitches, and it's allowed him to dial back the 4-seam slider usage and rely more on mixing in different looks to keep hitters off balance. These varied looks have helped him limit the amount of damage contact allowed, as from 2023 to 2024, batters had a .434 expected slugging percentage against Rodon, compared to 2025, where he has just a .354 expected slugging percentage. The ability to limit damage contact has been a huge change for Rodon, and by having one of the deepest repertoires in the league, he is consistently keeping hitters off balance and giving himself a better chance to prevent runs every time he steps on the mound. It's not like these are bad pitches either. 4 of Rodon's 5 pitches have a positive run value on the season, meaning that they're good pitches getting good results. While Carlos Rodon is walking more batters than he has before, the limiting of damage contact is allowing him to avoid the long ball that's often killed him in the past. He's still getting whiffs as well. Carlos Rodon is in the 83rd percentile in whiff rate on the season, as batters are whiffing over 30% of the time against the left-hander. This is easily the most polished version of Carlos Rodon we've seen as a Yankee. In his 3rd time through the order numbers, he has a .698 OPS this year compared to an .841 OPS 3rd time through last year. That is a result of a deeper mix because batters aren't able to just see the same 2 or 3 pitches and start to adjust in game. His results this season have been amazing. He's 9th in ERA and 3rd in innings pitched among American League starters, and you can argue that he's been their steadiest force in the rotation. You can't ask for much better than what Rodon's given you as the number 2 starter, and he's completely changed his image in New York. He went from a disappointing player on a massive contract to one of the most reliable players on the Yankees, and if they go on a deep playoff run this year, he'll play a huge role in why they got there.
Perfect.